Hey guys, BBI here. I want to stop and say thanks for tuning in and checking out whatever the video is about that's about ready to come up next. If you could take a minute and hit subscribe, I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you enjoy what you've seen here, make sure to hit the like button. We'd greatly appreciate your support. Anyhow, guys, all that aside, let's get on with the show. Well, gentlemen, we're going to go on an adventure today. We're going to go on an adventure of sight and sound and a trip down memory lane, I'm sure, for most of you guys. This is one of the cleanest versions of this particular thing I have ever seen. This is the infamous Jb-2000, made by Black Cat, aka Wasabi. Actually, had a guy send me a bunch of these stickers at one point. The only difference between the stock and this particular model, I do believe, is the labels. Taking into account we didn't have laser heat activated tape back in the day. This is what we had for labels when I was a kid. Of course, that was back when you could hit your sister with the phone and pull on a cord real hard and it'd zip back to your hand. You could like nunchuck it out there and be like, and then hit her and pop it back. Because the cord, the phone, was bolted to the wall. This Jb-2000 was built somewhere around 1977, a year after I was born. Approximately 6 months and 28 days after I was born, in theory. Taking into account, that's what it says on the transformer. Now, before everybody flips out, I remember the first one of these I seen is like, my God, why do they got a freaking piece of 2x4 in there? I thought it was just corny as hell. I was like, what? Who did this shit? That's the way they did it. These amplifiers are notorious for being all beat up and butchered to death and having this tube bypassed, or this tube being flat. This is the driver tube. So you take a standard 10-15 watt radio and you put it in here. It modulates this tube, which in turn drives these two iMac 3500Zs. Yes, these are legit iMacs and they are in pristine shape. We'll go over that here in a minute. Look at how clean the tank coil is. Look at how clean the tune and the loads are. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. It's beautiful. Stock caps. Everything in here is mint. As mint can get. Serial number F0498. Jb-2000. 10 through 80 supposedly. It is not. This is a 10, 11, and 12 meter amplifier. It runs on 110 or 220 volts, which I'll show you how to set that up here in a little bit. It's got a curling breaker in it. And we're currently wired for 110 volts. And that can be changed any way you want it to be. These aren't rust. These are copper pop rivets. Fan is pristine. It's disgusting how nice this is, actually. This is our input. That is our output. And we know by just the way it's wired. So the input coax comes down, or the input wire lead goes down, goes to the relay, comes up to this tuner, and comes out of this tuner, jumps down, goes to this coax, which comes around and goes right to our driver tube. So input, output antenna. Let's go ahead and zoom on in here. How do we know our tubes are in great shape? Well, it's because of the pins on the bottom of the socket here. And what I'm talking about, oh look, and they grounded the grids for us. Grounded. Oh, what, somebody learned from the SP220 days? Yes, grounded. Grounded grid configuration, of course. These amps were notorious for one major flaw. No air circulation on the bottom side of the cabinet. If this thing had seen any really serious use time, there'd be solder floated out of these pins. Because the pins get so hot from the tube operating and there's no cool air moving here. This is silver solder that gets so hot that the solder literally drips out and it looks like a booger hanging out of the end of the pin. And the pin comes unsoldered and the tube shuts off. Or it loses its grid and the tube takes off and explodes. So I could tell people that when they buy these, you know, you get yourself like a 2x4 or something and slide it underneath each side of this thing. Then get yourself a little 120 millimeter muffin fan to just waft. It doesn't take much, just waft some air through this portion of the deck and it'll cause it to just not have that problem anymore. It just takes the smallest amount of airflow. This thing has never been touched. Never. It's booger free. Soldering iron hack free. This is a clean, absolute, wonderfully pristine example of what it would look like when it comes off the assembly line. Now for you guys out there, from time to time I have had to go and Google things myself and look at the inside of stuff, other people's pictures. Where the heck was this hooked up to? And so I'm taking so much time to just slowly pan around, as there might be some other technician out there that is trying to understand how they can go about fixing this. And they're going to Google me, or they'll Google the amp, they'll get the video here, and they're going to scroll through it, and they're going to want me to stop and pause. And it might just help them understand how to fix what they're looking at. This is our 110-220 configuration. We'll cover that here in a minute. There. Hopefully that helps somebody out there at some point or another. Have the opportunity, like if they need to find out what the value of a certain resistor is. Schematics on these are few and far between. I'm not gonna lie, I got one that this whole section has butchered the hell out of it. Like, this whole section has just been tore up. And I've been waiting and waiting for an example to float through here. So there's gonna be lots of pictures of this taken, and I'm gonna recreate this. So I'm really grateful that this is here. This switch here is your high-low switch, and really all this does is bypass the driver tube. That's it. So that's simple. Okay, let's move on. Shown in 110 volt position, that's what we're currently wired like. For 220 volts, connect both line or links between terminals 2 and terminals 3. So if we're wanting to run this into 220, we take these two terminals out, these two jumpers, and we connect here on these two pins. Terminals 2, terminals 3. We're currently in the 110 configuration. Do not remove. This is because the cabinet that they made, the reason the wood's in here, you guys, is because the cabinet construction is such that if this thing got moved in transport or in shipping, the transformer weight itself will bend the cabinet up. They found by just simply adding a couple of reinforcement pieces of wood, which are held in with glue and screws, that it stiffened the cabinet up enough to where it could be shipped and nothing get damaged. So obviously this is going to come to you in two pieces. The tubes are going to be out of it. One, they're going to be in their own separate package. Two, this is going to be in a foam bladder case in its own custom commercial grade cardboard container. So 2 inches of expansion foam all the way around it in its own custom cardboard container, and then that cardboard container will be inside of a wood crate. It's just the way we roll. It's the best way we found to be able to transport these things from one side of the United States to the other through our current 0 F's given brown shitbox kicker system to where they don't get damaged. Well, our next step is to get out the variac and slowly turn this on, and we'll see if anything has a problem with it as we go up. So I just took 5 whole whopping minutes, and the keying circuit board that's on the back of this, or on the bottom of this thing, would be underneath down here. I just took it all apart and checked the filtering circuits that are in the power supply for it, and then tested these caps, and nothing is leaking. So of course now we're going to light this up for the first time. We come in here and we always pull our high voltage off the top of the tubes. Any tube that's been sitting for any period of time, especially the 3500Z, when you first bring it online, we all know, all of us know, that we do a thing called an air bottle test. Okay? And when it comes to ceramic tubes, we want to do a burn-in test where we're going to bring the tube on, let it sit and run with no high voltage on it for a few hours, and let it reabsorb the gas that might have migrated out of the getter that's inside the tube. I said this in the Glenn video. I had the opportunity to go learn from a very wise, smarter than me, smart guy that rebuilds tubes. And I asked him about the, as a lot of people put it, wives' tale. Absolutely not necessary. It is totally necessary. The theory of, do we need to cook the tubes in? And what they mean by cook the tubes in is, do we need to bring the tube on with no high voltage present and let it sit there and run for a little bit? And the answer to that question is an absolutely emphatic yes. See, the getter in these tubes, in the ceramic tubes, well, some of them you can do an induction activated setup, but most are passive. They work with the filament, in tandem with the filament. And they don't burn off the gas, they absorb the gas. So if any other foreign gases might still be present or have managed to leak in past the seals or whatnot, they absorb that gas in the getters. Well, over time, because they haven't burned or changed state, they've just been absorbed, they can migrate their way out of the getter and be back present inside the tube. Therefore, when you first fire up an amp or a tube that's been sitting for a long time, especially something that's got a ceramic body to it, now take the time, hook it up, disconnect the high voltage, and let it cook in for a few minutes, a couple hours preferably, like 3, 4, 5. The longer, the safer you're going to be. Okay, power's on. Power's on. And let's see what happens here. Here comes the fan. I should be seeing high voltage by now. Tubes are starting to light up. I bet the high voltage is switched. There it goes. It's on a timer. We're up at 110. And what we're doing is we're watching the tubes. We're watching these iMacs. If they have lost their vacuum, the tube will fill full of white acrid smoke. Just shut it off because the filaments are eating themselves. Both of these iMacs in here are coming up to temp. Here, let's bring you over here. Both these iMacs are coming up to temp. This looks good. So, we're right at 110 on the Variac. We're going to go ahead and overclock to 115. The driver tube is lighting up. Our plate voltage meter is working. $2,500 volts right on the money. Now, let's do the opposite test. Shut this off. That buzzing noise with the solenoid coming unloaded. What we're doing is we're waiting to see how long it takes the bleeders to come back down. Pull the high voltage off the power supply. Go ahead, shut this off, and we're going to bypass the Variac. We don't need it. Only need it for that initial turn on. Bleeders are working really good. Okay. Now, we'll test the old as me amplifier, the way it was designed to be turned on. Beautiful thing. Well, we know we haven't lost our vacuum. We're going to let our high voltage bleed off again. We're going to put a fan on here to blow some air on the tops of those anodes to get them cooled down a little bit quicker. And then we're going to put the high voltage on it. I don't like that it doesn't have a manual key on it. That bugs me, but okay. It's looking good. Zero signal's looking good. Relay control knob is cranked all the way to 11. Pull this out of the equation. So we got ourselves a 1,000 watt slug. And I guess I should have shown you this before I turned it on. let's go over here and I'll show you drive. Run a base 2950 or the bench 2950 into it. Hello, audio. Real low power, like 10 watts, like what a tram would be. Pass-through tune. Hello, audio. Which is good. Okay, that's where we're going to end up. That's where we need to be. This is where we're going to be. Let's turn this to on. Power on low mode. Hello, audio. Hello. Hello. All right, light straight up, man. We're making power already. Hello. Hello. Wow, easy peasy. Hello. What I'm doing, you guys, right now is I'm over here on the backside, and there's this knob here, and I'm changing. There's a ferrite core that's on this threaded rod, and I'm looking up here at the input meter. Let me lock this down. And I'm adjusting this knob. Hello. Hello. I'll take that and smile. I'll take that and smile. Adjusting that knob for the lowest amount of reflect. So this knob here, right here, is what we're adjusting our input tune with. And once you get that tuned, you don't need to ever adjust it again. You leave it alone unless you change where you have the thing mounted up at, or built, or installed at. So let's do the dance and dance back and forth a little bit here. Hello. 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 All right. Hello. Hello. Audio. Hello. Audio. Leave that on high voltage. So everything there is working. Let's reach over here. Let's turn on the spectrum analyzer. Now let's go to high power. Hello. 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 We're off the scale. Let's go to 2x. Hello. Hello. That's with 10 watts of drive. So what we're looking at here is right here. God, this is so hard to shoot sometimes. Let's not electrocute ourselves today there, BBI. It's not worth it for the viewers of YouTube. Okay, that hash mark right here is 1,000. It's 12, 14, 6, 16, 18, and then 2,000 is the end of the scale. So with 10 watts of drive, hello, hello, making a solid 13 to 1,400 watts of power. So that's with, let's turn our drive level down. Hello, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. It's that much drive going in. Let me turn this around. So we got a 5-watt slug there in the far left. Putting about 7 bird in it. Dead keying about a half a watt. Is making 1400 watts of power. So, see what happens when we turn it up a little bit. Let's add another 10 watts to this equation. Turn the bench radio up a little bit. We're on 2x. Let's go to 1x. Hello, audio. Hello, audio. Now from the oblique angle that you're sitting at, you can't see that's actually 20 watts. Here, we'll get you readjusted. Hello, audio. 20 peak. Hello. All right. There we go. Hello. Audio. Hello. Let's bring our carrier up a little bit. Hello. 1, 2. All right. Hello. Retuning my output. Hello. All right. I think that's all she's going to give us. Hello. Hello. 1, 2. 1, 2. Solid 14.5, 15. Back down to low. Hello, audio. Wait a minute. Oh, we're up on 2. So them's the numbers. Let me play around with drive here for a minute. Just want to play with this. I'll be right back. I was losing my mind there for a second. I just had it way out of tune. Let's check this out. Let's go back down to 1x. There we go. Hello, audio. Same 20 watts of drive. Hello, audio. 20 watts of drive, right? Let's take this back up to 2x. Take our relay control, turn it all the way up. Hello, audio. 1, 2, 1, 2. Hello. 1900 PEP. And all I had to do was sit here and twiddly fart with it for 15 minutes with the tune and load knob. I finally found its sweet butter zone that it wants to be resonant at. This thing is cute. 20 peak watts of drive, 1900 out of it. Let me try something else. I got the derail striker hooked up. Hello. Hello. I'll bring that up just a hair, can't I? Hello. About 30 watts of drive. So we'll activate our relay again. We'll see if them 10 extra watts of drive, whopping 10 watts of drive, make a huge difference. Hello. Oh yeah. Hello. Moral of the story is, this amp works fine with 30 watts of drive. It is perfectly happy. Perfectly happy. Okay, well, tubes. That tells us the tubes are good, the input tune's good, the pass-through tune's good, keying circuit's good, tune and load circuit's good. Power meter functions are all good. Plate meter functions are good. All that's good. Everything's good. And it's titties on the inside. Well, let's get the armor out of the pile over here and let's see what it looks like. This isn't too bad. I've seen way worse. Still got the original feed on it. Still got all the original stickers on it. Serial numbers matching, of course. FO498. FO498. And too bad. The original antenna transmit stickers on it. This thing isn't too bad. I'm going to leave the armor off of it until this thing sells. I don't want any fettered problems getting the tubes out or nothing. I don't want to take a bunch of pictures of this thing. Inside the armor is in really good condition too. There's a little bend right here. There's some nicks from them sliding it in and out. That's to be expected. It isn't too bad. The inside guts of it are mint. Well, I gotta be honest with you guys. I'm really impressed. Jb-2000. It is what it is. 2000 watt low drive amplifier. I mean, if you were to put like a tram or something into this, you could expect 1400 peak and whatever your bird number is going to be. You know, 700 bird or whatever, 800 bird. But, yeah, this is ideal for the guys I'm selling this to, they know what I got. They're drooling right now. Oh my God, it's minty mint. I'll say 25, but if you want to make me an offer, I'm willing to listen to it. So, you know, you want to come close to that number, 25 plus the ride. I think that that's a fair dish for this thing in the condition that it's in. And I'm serious. I'll listen to offers if we're serious. I mean, like, hey man, I'll give you $10. I'm just going to hang up on you, dude. I'm just going to, I'm sorry. Try again. No, I mean, you come at me with a serious number, I'm pretty sure we'd probably be able to move this thing right into your world. So, on that note, I'm going to run away. Gentlemen, today is Sunday, I do believe. That's when this is going to come out. Don't hesitate to call me. We'll figure out something. Believe me, there's a will, there's a way. We can get her done. Hit me up. Text me, call me on the phone. We'll get this figured out. Gentlemen, my name is BBI. A shadow of doubt. I'm the biggest mud duck out here in Idaho here today. Yep. And what that counts for? Nothing. I sure am having fun with the channel. I'm really grateful you guys are appreciating the interview videos, because they were a lot of time, a lot of energy, and I hope you guys understand why I feel it's necessary to get these done. I'd like to shoot more. Give me a reason to head east. I'll do it. Thanks, guys. We'll see ya. Click, click, click.